Summer, the World Cup final comes to the Big Apple. New York City becomes the stage for the greatest event in sports. One match, one trophy. But who gets there? Join us on State of Soccer as we ride the subway across New York City, breaking down every group and bold prediction. Today, we're joined by our special guest, HRV Isaac. The journey starts now on State of Soccer.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of State of Soccer. Today is a really awesome addition to the World Cup Hub and State of Soccer's channel because we have a longtime friend of the channel. HRV Isaac is back, and today we are doing the full World Cup predictions. What's up, man? How's it going?
It's great, man. Can't wait for the World Cup.
So Isaac, we're going to go through the playoffs, group stage, knockout stage. We're doing the entire thing today. We'll try to wrap this thing up in like an hour. We're going to get started right now with the playoffs. We have the UEFA Path A, and then we got to talk about the Intercontinental playoffs, right? So from UEFA, 4 teams will qualify. Path A, which will go into Group B, we have Italy, we have Northern Ireland, we have Wales, we have Bosnia-Herzegovina. So amongst those teams, who do you see qualify from that group?
Well, obviously, most people are going to say Italy, just based on their long ago World Cup legacy. They've won the title 4 times, but they have been in horrible shape lately. I don't fully trust them, honestly. They haven't qualified for the last 2 World Cups. So it is something to consider. I think most people are going to favor Italy. I won't argue with you if you want to go for them, but I personally said Wales will end up doing it.
Wales? And this is what we'll do too, because we can only pick one team. I know there's 2 of us here. Mm-hmm. I guess depending on the argument and whoever is like that much more animated will pick that team. Otherwise, I'll default to your predictions for this one. That works for you.
For this one too?
We'll go with what you're saying. But if I have to hop in and pick someone else, I'll hop in and pick someone else if I totally disagree. Yeah.
So you're cool with Wales?
I'm good with Wales, yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right, we got UEFA Path B, which will go into Group F. We have Ukraine, we have Sweden, we have Poland and Albania. This is arguably the group of death of the UEFA playoffs, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's definitely the toughest one to call, but I still think just off of experience alone, Poland might be the slightest of favorites.
Okay.
They've achieved the playoffs in the last 2 scenarios in the last Euros and World Cup. So I have faith in them to do it once again. They look pretty decent behind the scenes. They were going through some stuff earlier with their previous manager, but things have sharpened up. They have one of the best strikers despite his age. I think they have what it takes to qualify.
What about Sweden, who obviously was really favored in terms of getting through the first time around? A team that is stacked overall, but has been struggling. What do you think of their chances?
They are stacked, and I was favoring them to do much better in the World Cup qualifiers and not be in this position, but they are a mess behind the scenes. They obviously just got a new manager, Graham Potter, so maybe things can sharpen up. But yeah, they obviously have some of the best attackers in Europe. Some of them haven't had the most ideal seasons, though. Gyökeres isn't scoring as much as we thought he would in the Premier League. Alexander Isak, really unfortunate. He keeps getting injured. So he might return once these playoffs commence, but I still don't have the most faith in them. Maybe they can win that first match against Ukraine, but I'm still going to favor Poland. All
right, let's proceed with Poland. And even Ukraine is dangerous, of course. You never know what they're capable of. I think losing guys like Mudryk in the past is tough for them based off of where we thought they'd be at this point. And Albania, of course, really can shock the world. You never know with Albania. So that's a really tough group. Now we move on to Turkey, Romania, Slovakia, and Kosovo. Kosovo, which is making an appearance here. Obviously, the Balkans being a hotbed of talent when it comes to football talent. So who do you see in that group Path C going to Group D?
I think it's going to be Turkey. Just the talent alone that they have. They are very inconsistent of a national team, very back and forth in form. They'll randomly disappoint you when you don't expect them to, but they have some of the best upcoming talents like Arda Güler, Kenan Yildiz in the attack. They're a very frightening side. I would not rule them out. Of course, anything's possible. Kosovo might end up doing it. Who knows? They were really impressive in the qualifiers. They have a lot of hidden gems, but I think Turkey have what it takes to proceed.
Let's move on. Yeah, we'll do Turkey. Then we go to Path D to Group A. This is interesting because we have Denmark, we have Northern Macedonia, we have Czech Republic, and then we have Ireland, Republic of Ireland. I'm just going to say this is one where I'm going to stand on business when it comes to Ireland, just with their recent success. Although now it's always delayed, right, Isaac? Because you have all this success in the last window. We're talking about a month ago, and then they have to wait, another 3-4 months, right, to get back on the pitch, which could kind of stifle them. But of course, Denmark also has a history too at the World Cup in international football history. So what do you think with this group?
I think if you want to look at it on the surface and based on the teams on paper and what they've achieved over recent years, Denmark are the favorites. But I went for a bit of a surprise and chose Ireland just off of the momentum they have right now. They defeated Portugal, even overcame Hungary in that difficult group to be here. They might have that optimism going into this, but like you said, it's in a few months' time. Things can very much change course. But if their striker Troy Parrott's fit, I might just favor them. But if you want to argue for Denmark to pull through, I wouldn't argue.
I don't think we can go against Troy Parrott, so let's pick Ireland on this one.
All right,
and
sounds good.
We'll move down now to the Intercontinental Playoffs. And this is like a really interesting setup. So Intercontinental Playoffs are multiple confederations outside of Europe, and they'll all be playing in Mexico, in Monterrey, Mexico in March to determine the last two teams coming from the confederations outside of UEFA. So with the IC Playoff Path 1, which will go into Group K, which we'll get to later, we have New Caledonia, we have Jamaica, and Democratic Republic of Congo. What are your thoughts there?
I think this is way easier to predict. Obviously, Jamaica might bounce back in form, but they are a mess right now behind the scenes. They just failed to qualify automatically to the smallest country to ever qualify for the World Cup. So I think DR Congo are the biggest of favorites in this path by far. They're a very underrated squad. They just knocked out two huge teams in Africa from being able to participate in this tournament, Nigeria and Cameroon. Very unified side right now. They're looking like they're in the best momentum they have in quite some time. I'm going to favor them to qualify.
I feel the same way because I don't think you can really go against AFCON in terms of like what they're capable of. You just don't know. Yeah. So we'll go with the Congo here. We have IC Playoff 2 to Group I. We have a team, Isaac, we were talking about before we started recording, which is Bolivia, who fortunately for everyone else is not going to be playing on home field advantage at like 10,000 feet of elevation. We have Suriname and we have Iraq. What do you think of the three?
Yeah, with Bolivia not playing at home, that's a huge disadvantage for them. Their away record is horrendous. Maybe they could sharpen up by them. I feel like they are preparing a bit. They organized some friendlies away, but I still don't think it will be enough. I have Iraq advancing here. Okay. I think that they've been building up the most momentum. Obviously, they had some hiccups here and there in the qualifiers, replacing their manager, but their current one, Graham Arnold, already has experience at this stage. He qualified Australia from these Interconfederation playoffs last time. So I think he can do it again with Iraq.
Iraq is on. They're through to the actual World Cup. So we'll continue with this bracket now. And Isaac, we have all of those playoff teams dispersed. Now we have Group A. Republic of Ireland has been slotted into Group A alongside the likes of Mexico, South Africa, and South Korea. Remember, with the World Cup this year, third place teams will also have a shot to advance as well. So let's start with Group A. What are your thoughts with this?
I think this is by far one of the toughest groups to predict. I feel like every side here has the right to be optimistic they can top the group. But at the same time, I feel like there's a lot of negatives for each of these sides. For example, South Korea and their current managers, they're not in the best state right now.
Yeah.
Who else do we have? Mexico. They've been winning their continental tournaments, but a lot of their recent friendly results have not been convincing at all. Obviously, they're trying to prepare the best they can. And once the World Cup is there, they might, finally gain that momentum. But right now, it's not looking to be too good. And overall, the squad cohesion just doesn't look to be at its peak. And then we got South Africa, who were on unbeaten streak for some time, actually, under their manager, Hugo Bruce. They've been implementing a lot of players from their own domestic league, which have been unifying really well together. They're a really underrated bunch, actually. But we're recording this right after their AFCON exit when they lost to Cameroon. And they didn't even play that bad in that match, but still, I think it's a disappointing result for them. Of course, Cameroon are highly regarded in Africa, but I think South Africa can still go into this with some optimism. Like I said, one of the most unified teams right now. Mokoena in the midfield, very underrated player. I initially had them to top it, but I think a lot of people are ruling this side out, but I think they can at least survive as one of the best third place teams minimum.
Okay, so are you thinking then? Because we also have Ireland as well in this group, which makes it really complex here. So would you, if you had to say first, second, if we have South Africa at third, who's finishing first, who's finishing second?
I keep going back and forth on this. Like I said in my initial prediction, I had South Africa first, but if we have to pick first, second, third, fourth right now, are you sticking with South Africa third?
I think Mexico, two of Mexico's matches are at Estadio Azteca. And I'm one for history. And when you look at it, they've never lost. Now we're talking about I think it was 1970, 1986. So it's like 50 years ago and whatever else. But they are playing at home 2 matches at Estadio Azteca. I have to believe that Mexico gets through. I think Mexico finishes in second. I want to put Ireland top in the group, Mexico in second. This is controversial. South Africa in third.
I'll take that. No, it's not even that controversial. This whole group is like, I think it's going to be really back and forth between all these teams. I could see many of them grabbing a win as well. That's why I do think the third place team will advance, whoever it is. So I'll go with the order. I predicted Korea to finish fourth in my initial prediction. So
we don't know with their coach. They could be in shambles, but they could also prove us wrong. So we move on to Group B, and we're going to have to speed things up a little bit here to get through all these groups. We got Canada, we have Wales, Qatar, Switzerland. I would like to say this is easier to predict, but it might not be.
No, for sure is easier than Group A. Switzerland are in incredible form right now, though. Even if Italy were to qualify to this group, as you saw, we predicted Wales, but I still think Switzerland are the favorites to top it. Haven't lost a single match in 2025, I think. Who else do we have? Qatar obviously have had good success domestically, winning the last 2 Asian Cups, but still, as soon as the tournament's over, they just seem to go back to some default setting. In the World Cup qualifiers, obviously they did it, but they had some really poor results there, conceding loads of goals to like even Kyrgyzstan, for example. So I think it's safe to put them at fourth.
Okay. Even though Qatar does play a lot of matches in the U.S. on U.S. soil for friendlies, being involved in CONCACAF Gold Cups in past years, does that sway your mind whatsoever or no? Still fourth?
But did they even get that many convincing results at the U.S.?
No, they didn't. No, I think they beat up on some small, Caribbean nations, but nothing outside of that.
Yeah, so I still don't have the most faith in them. They're underrated somewhat, but I still think it's safe to put them at fourth. But second and third is a toss-up. Wales disappointed at the last World Cup, but they do have some energetic players and are looking to be fine without the likes of Gareth Bale.
Yeah.
But Canada, the optimism seems to be high under Jesse Marsch. I know they had a disappointing CONCACAF Gold Cup, but lots of underrated ballers there. Tejan Buchanan, Promise David in Belgium has been great. Jonathan David, he's kind of struggling at Juventus, but still we can't rule him out. He was incredible at Lille last season. Yeah, if Alphonso Davies fit, that's obviously a huge boost. I might just give it to Canada to get second.
I agree with that. Let's do Canada second, and then you want to do Wales, Qatar in that order.
Yeah, but I don't know if I want to count Wales as one of the third place teams.
For now, let's count them. We'll move on. Unless you feel like Qatar and Wales should swap. But it sounds like
no, I think Wales can get third.
All right, Group C. This is what the World Cup's all about. Like, we're teeing up for like an amazing World Cup because Group C here is Brazil, Morocco. Off the bat, Morocco, obviously, with the success they had of finishing fourth at the last World Cup. We have Haiti, then we have Scotland, who's in the World Cup for the first time since 1998. What are your thoughts between Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, or Scotland in the Group C?
I think for sure the easiest thing to predict here is Haiti is finishing dead last. And I don't want to be disrespectful to Haiti, but yeah, this is such a difficult group. Props to them for qualifying for their second ever World Cup, but this is going to be a tough lead. Scotland haven't had the best success at World Cups. Every time they have qualified, they've been grouped, I think, in all 8 appearances. So they're looking to finally do it. It's going to be tough to overcome Morocco and Brazil, though. Brazil obviously have the most legacy, so many people are going to expect them to get first, but their recent results have not been the most convincing. I think this is the worst they've ever done in World Cup qualification as well, in terms of placements. And Morocco, I don't want to count this side out. I know that most people are going to favor Brazil, but Morocco's rise has been extraordinary. I know some of their AFCON results recently have been a bit slow, but still, by the time the World Cup rolls around, I still don't think their last performance was a fluke.
Yeah.
They've been really on the rise. So many incredible talent coming from their Mohammed VI Football Academy. This side are prioritizing football to the max. I mean, the nation as a whole. So I wouldn't be surprised if Morocco tops this group, but if you want to play it safe, you can say.
Let's lock in Morocco. I'm with
really?
You on
okay.
That. Yeah, let's lock in Morocco. Brazil second, Scotland third, and Haiti in the fourth is what I'm hearing.
Scotland third, yeah, let's do that.
Okay. I think that's how it's going to play off with third and fourth, but I could see interchangeably, Brazil finishing at the top, but I wouldn't be surprised if Morocco does it. Group D, we have the US, United States, we have Paraguay, we have Australia, and Turkey. So with those 4, what are your thoughts?
Again, I think it's this and Group A are the toughest ones to call. Again, it's a group where everyone has the right to be optimistic. Always, there's a bit more optimism when you are the host, but the United States results recently haven't been up to par. I think they have been improving, though, in recent friendlies and really rotating the squad. And some of their players within Europe are in really good form. Christian Pulisic is arguably one of the best players in Italy right now. But yeah, they shouldn't underestimate these other teams. Paraguay have been really, really good. They defeated the likes of Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina, all in the last World Cup qualified campaign. Definitely improving under Gustavo Alfaro, their current manager. And Australia, as we saw in the last World Cup, you can't rule out this side. They were undefeated in the World Cup qualifiers as well under their new manager, Toni Popovic. Yeah, in the last World Cup, they went toe-to-toe with Argentina in the round of 16, the champions, even defeated the likes of Denmark in their group.
I would actually say that Australia and the US, not necessarily being football nations, punch above their weight at the World Cup in terms of getting out of the group, historically speaking.
Absolutely.
So I think this is going to be a very interesting one between the two of them. And I will say the US did just defeat Australia pretty handily in a friendly this past season in 2025. But, we're talking about friendlies versus the World Cup, completely different things.
Absolutely, yeah. And even when Australia do get grouped, they always put off a memorable World Cup performance. For example, in 2014, Tim Cahill scoring bangers despite not picking up a single win.
Yeah.
It's a real, and we already talked about Turkey's inconsistencies. So even though they have some of the best talents in this group in particular, I still would not be surprised to see them somewhat flop. I have no idea what to call on this one, but it feels criminal to put any of these teams at fourth, genuinely.
Now we have Pochettino at the helm for the US. The US did just recently defeat Paraguay in a friendly. So if the US did play Paraguay and Australia in friendlies, Turkey, I think, is kind of that we don't know what to expect out of them, which is why that's if they slot in, of course, if they advance past the playoffs. So real quick, you have to make your final determination here. I think we slot the US in the second place is what I think.
I think that's fair. Fair, yeah.
Would you say Paraguay finishes at the top? Or do you want to go with Turkey?
Feel horrible putting any of these teams at fourth. I initially went for Australia, but even then it feels criminal to put it last. I might need your help deciding this one. Honestly, I can't.
We could even say the US. We could just say the US finishes first in the group, put them at the top. They did just beat up on Uruguay 5-1. However, I will say that the US hasn't been experimenting with their top side, right? So this is all like kind of a mixture of their A and B squad. I haven't seen their full A squad together play once in the past year for the US. So I don't know.
I'm tempted to say USA first, Turkey is second.
Okay.
And third, you decide third and fourth. I'm stuck on that one.
Let's just do Paraguay in third and Australia in fourth. I hate to put Australia in fourth, but...
Yeah, that's what I went with as well, but I also feel really bad for the Australians.
And we could be completely wrong. It could be completely flipped, that group. That group is going to be a shocker, I think, personally.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's speed things up. We got Group E. We got Germany, Curacao, Ivory Coast, and Ecuador. This is an interesting one, especially featuring Curacao, of course, such a small nation qualifying. What do you think?
Curacao, yeah. It's the story that they've told is incredible, but they are the biggest underdogs at this World Cup. And this is such a tough group. I rate all these teams so highly. Germany are the favorites on paper, but they're under a lot of pressure at this tournament. They haven't made it out of the group stage in the last two, which might affect the players psychologically. You never know. And obviously, they're trying to overcome a new generation. They just lost a lot of legends, which they seem to adapt well over time. But who else? Ecuador, their defensive game has been one of the best. They only conceded 5 goals in 18 matches in the World Cup qualifiers, but they do have some attacking issues. We've seen so many 0-0 results recently from them. And Ivory Coast, also a very, very good defensive team. They have some top players in the back line, but unlike Ecuador, I actually do rate some of their attackers. They have some really pacey upcoming wingers. Got the likes of Diomande, who's been tearing it up at Leipzig. I think Curacao should definitely be at last place. This will be too tough of a group for them, and the rest could be a gamble. I have Germany topping it, Ecuador second, Ivory Coast third, but I would not be surprised if that order for the top three is flipped.
Let's proceed with that. Ivory Coast has always had so much talent at the World Cup, but always seems to come up short too. So historically speaking, I hope that's not the case for them, but we have them in third here. And even in third, you can still advance. So let's just put it that way. So I think that could be fair for Group B. Group F. In Group F, we have the Netherlands, Japan, Poland, Tunisia. Wow, this one is really tough too. I think this one could be arguably the group of death as well if there's multiple here at this World Cup. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. This very, very tough group to call as well. Netherlands, obviously the more highly regarded side on paper, but we saw Japan top 2 UEFA teams at the last World Cup in their group. Could easily happen again. Netherlands, I think, have so much potential, but they seem to be somewhat hindered from their current manager, Ronald Koeman. I don't fully trust them. I wouldn't be surprised to see a shock in Japan top it. Netherlands and Poland have faced each other so many times recently as well, so that match in specific can be cagey. I think they drew both times they faced in the last World Cup qualifier campaign.
I don't know what it is. I think I default to, if an opponent is familiar with another opponent, I default to the Dutch on that one. I think getting through and getting past Poland personally.
I think still head-to-head, Netherlands have the advantage, but
yeah,
maybe if we see a draw in that result, Japan can, for example, leapfrog them both. You never know.
You want to lock in Japan at first? We can do it.
It's either Netherlands or Japan. I think Poland will be too tough for them to get first. And Tunisia as well. We didn't even talk about them. Their last AFCON performance just now, they have been really disappointing. They were pretty decent in the World Cup qualifiers, not conceding a single goal, but these are really tough teams. I think they're easily at fourth.
Tunisia, the first ever African nation to win a World Cup match, by the way, which I always like to point
Really?
out.
I didn't even know that.
Historically. So, okay, so you think they're going to finish fourth? So we're going to lock in Japan at the top, Netherlands in second, Poland in third, fourth for Tunisia?
Sounds good.
Okay, let's do that. I don't know if you're 100% sold on Japan at 1, but I'll take the hit if we're wrong on this one.
I know I went for it as well, but I'm second guessing it, obviously. I'll keep it. Let's keep it for now.
Group G, we got Belgium, we have Egypt, we have Iran, and we have New Zealand. What are your thoughts?
This is arguably one of the groups of life because Belgium are the favorites on paper, but they've definitely been on somewhat of a decline. Still pulling through, obviously, but they weren't the most convincing at the World Cup qualifiers. Obviously, some injuries to their benefit, but when you got the likes of New Zealand, who haven't picked up a single World Cup win in history, or Egypt, actually. Egypt also never won a World Cup match before.
Yeah.
Iran have, but they never progressed from the groups. So I think Belgium are definitely the favorites to top this, but they obviously shouldn't underestimate all these hungry sides. New Zealand are also the lowest ranked team that have qualified so far. I don't want to fully underestimate them, but I feel like they might not be so familiar to the competition since it's been so, they haven't qualified for the World Cup since 2010. I'm going to put them at fourth. Egypt have really solid attacking power with the likes of Salah and Marmoush. I'm not fully trusting this side yet, but I think they can finally break that curse of not winning a match. I'm going to put them at second and Iran third.
You have Belgium top in the group, Egypt in second, Iran and New Zealand in that order. Now let's move on to Group H, which I think is an easier one to predict. We have Spain, we have Cape Verde, who can definitely shock some people. We have Saudi Arabia and Uruguay. So maybe this actually is not easy to predict. I take that back.
Yeah, I mean, it seems clear cut, but Uruguay have been a mess behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Under their manager Bielsa, he's not really getting along with some of the players. Could that maybe result an upset against them or Cape Verde? This is Cape Verde's first ever World Cup, what an achievement for them. I think it really depends on if Uruguay sharpen up mentally before this World Cup begins. I think without a doubt, Spain are topping this group. They are totally looking like one of the best teams at this tournament by a mile. With so many youngsters coming in, Yamal, many people are familiar with him. Some of the best midfield as well. Such an organized team, very adaptive. They should take this group on with ease. But the rest, it's up to you if you think Uruguay are going to...
And we didn't mention Saudi. So Saudi Arabia, of course.
Saudi Arabia, they've pulled off upsets at the last World Cup. They defeated the champions. They still got grouped at the end, but I wouldn't say it was a disappointing campaign.
Saudi advanced. So in 1994 World Cup, Saudi advanced to the knockout stages, by the way, which is, we're going back to the last time the U.S. hosted the World Cup. So I just love to throw in these random historical facts that just do not matter whatsoever for this prediction, but you never know, right? So
yeah, they might get some motivation from that fact.
They'll listen to this video and get motivated. Let's put let's do Uruguay. Let's slot them in second. Now it's between Cape Verde and Saudi.
I think Cape Verde are a very underrated team, but I think Saudi still have that experience and capability to maybe get the head-to-head win against them. So let's put them at third.
Saudi in third, Cape Verde in fourth. Moving on to Group I. We have France, Senegal, Iraq, and Norway.
This is such a banger of a group. I love this one. The only thing that's obvious to me is Iraq are finishing dead last.
Yeah. I don't mean to laugh, but you never know. But I see it that way as well.
These teams are just too strong. When you got the likes of Norway, who's scored the most goals in UEFA World Cup qualifying.
Can I throw it out there? I'm just going to, without even adding much analysis, on my just general thoughts, my convictions on this one. We got Norway topping. We have France in second, followed by Senegal and then Iraq.
I'm not going to argue with you. I think it's such a toss-up. But Senegal looking like one of the best teams in Africa, and they're doing very well at this AFCON so far at the time of this recording. Maybe they haven't been tested enough in recent times outside of Africa, but I agree with that order because France obviously are the best team on paper and they have the most legacy, but under Deschamps, they are looking a bit slow. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're halted to either Norway or Senegal here.
Okay, so we have, just to reiterate, Norway at the top, France number 2, Senegal number 3, and Iraq. I think first through third is just completely open there for Group I. Group J, it's the battle of the A countries. You have Argentina, Algeria, Austria, and Jordan in Group J.
This is a tough one, actually. I feel like a lot of people aren't giving this group enough respect. Obviously, Argentina are the favorites to top it, just given also their previous World Cup win, and they haven't really seemed to slow down too much.
Yeah.
But Jordan, I feel like a lot of people are underestimating them. They're obviously making their first World Cup appearance. Maybe they'll let the pressure hunt onto them with that, but they are a really decent side. They just made it to the Asian Cup final, the Arab Cup final. They play incredible counterattacking football. I think their main striker picked up an ACL injury, so we'll see if he can come back in time for the tournament. But I wouldn't be surprised to see them upset either Algeria or Austria. But when you look at those teams on paper, Algeria finally shaping up under their new manager, Petkovic. Mata's given it one last go. He only played at one World Cup, though, before, but yeah, they haven't qualified for the last 2 tournaments. They're obviously going to want to make their mark. And Austria under Ralf Rangnick, they're looking the best they have in a very, very long time. Really underrated midfield unit. They even topped their Euro group over the likes of France and the Netherlands. So It's a tough one to call. I think Argentina is definitely topping it, but the rest, anything's possible.
You want to go with Argentina and Austria first and second, and then it's between, and I might do Jordan and Algeria.
Whew.
I swap that.
No, I mean, no.
You were really if Jordan's strikers is fit.
Let's go for it. It's just, it also feels weird, but Algeria, I could see them improving by the time this World Cup rolls around. They're finally under new management. They've been struggling under their previous one, but yeah, Jordan, if any team rolls them out, they'll be mistaken, I think.
Yeah. Algeria was, being one of those Northern African kings of football, of course. So let's see, with Morocco and Tunisia being in the tournament as well. So let's see what happens there. But that's where we have Group J, Argentina in first, Austria in second, followed by Jordan and Algeria. We have 2 more groups left. Isaac, we're going to get through things here in about, say, 15 to 20 minutes. We'll wrap things up because we got to get to the playoffs, which is the best part. But we got Group K, Group L. Group K, we have Portugal, Congo, Uzbekistan, I believe making their debutante appearance, and then Colombia. What are your thoughts for Group K?
This is also a very underrated, I don't want to say underrated, it's a highly regarded group, but I think people should not underestimate the underdogs. Most people are going to favor Portugal and Colombia, and they are very strong teams. Portugal looking the best they have in quite some time. I feel bad we're not seeing Ronaldo at his prime, because if he was, with these players they have now to their disposal, they have some of the best midfield units. I think Portugal should be top in this group, but you never know. Colombia, on the other hand, they've been a bit back and forth in form. They definitely have their strengths. They have the iconic James Rodriguez from the 2014 World Cup. Still, no matter his club situation, always turns up for the national team. And Luis Diaz has been sensational this season.
Yes.
But in terms of Uzbekistan and DR Congo, Uzbekistan are very, very solid defensively. I don't really trust their new manager right now, though, Cannavaro. He has a really poor record with his previous clubs. And DR Congo, this is a really underrated team. Like I already mentioned, they knocked out Nigeria, Cameroon. So yeah, if they qualify here, maybe they'll even have a deep run at AFCON. Who knows? I would not sleep on this team. They're really unified right now, better than ever before. Maybe they're lacking that attacking power in some matches, but they've also not been utilizing Wisa these days, who's one of their key ingredients there, because he's been suffering some injuries here and there. But I'm still, let's play it safe. I'm going to say Colombia gets second, DR Congo third, Uzbekistan fourth, but I still don't want to rule out those other underdogs.
This will be an interesting group for sure. So just to reiterate, Portugal at the top, Colombia 2, Congo, and then Uzbekistan. Group L, I'm really intrigued to see what you do with this one. I think we know who's finishing last in this group, but we have England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama.
Yeah, so I was upset with this draw, honestly. I think it's a tough group for Croatia, but I still think they can handle it, especially with the expanded format. Obviously, a lot of Croatians are excited to play England once again. We got that incredible victory against them in 2018, but England are looking so much better now.
Yeah.
Under Tuchel as well. They don't think they've lost a match yet. I'm not sure about their friendly results on the top of my head. Yeah, this is obviously going to be one of his biggest tests, but the squad they have on paper is just so developed right now. So much depth in every single department. I think they definitely should be topping this group, especially because they do well in the group settings. I'm more nervous for them in the knockouts. Croatia, I'd like to believe they'll still finish second because they have a good record against African teams in the group stage.
Okay.
Ghana definitely are a decent team. They have some great components like Semenyo in the attack, but they've been shaky overall. Poor form. They didn't qualify for the AFCON. Obviously, they prevailed in the World Cup qualifiers, but you can't argue their group was a bit easy.
Yeah.
I'm going to put them at third. Panama's also on the rise. I still think this group was a bit too tough for them to be drawn to, so I think they'll finish fourth.
And if the stars align, we might be seeing each other at that Croatia-Ghana match in Philly. So that fingers crossed, you guys might be seeing another Isaac appearance on State of Soccer there. We hope so. Yeah, I hope so too. That'd be great. And that could be one of the best matches of that group as well.
Yeah. I'm definitely keen to see that one.
All right. Now we have 12 teams that finish third. 12 teams, the top 8 move on of those 12 teams. So even if you do finish third at the 2026 World Cup, it doesn't mean you're just out of the tournament. So real quick, we got to pick 8 of these third place teams. I don't know the best way to go about this, Isaac. I'll just go team by team. Let me know if you see them advancing, being one of the 8 of the best. We have South Africa, who I knew you had trouble with tossing out. So I think we select South Africa here as one of the teams. Wales.
I think they'll do it. They should be able to defeat Qatar. Maybe that'll be enough.
Okay, so Wales. We have Scotland from Group C.
That's a tough one. I still think that win against Haiti might be enough for them. And who knows, maybe they'll get a draw to Morocco or Brazil.
Paraguay in Group D.
Oof.
This is really tough too, right? So
I know it feels harsh to rule out any of them genuinely. The third place results are the toughest ones to call because it's really all down to the wire at the end.
You've already selected 3, so we have 5 left, and I can name them amongst Paraguay, Ivory Coast, Poland, Iran, Saudi, Senegal, Jordan, Congo, and Ghana. So you need to pick 5 more from those.
All right, off the fly, let's take Paraguay out.
Take Paraguay out? What about Ivory Coast?
Yeah, I think Ivory Coast can pull through.
Poland, being in a really tough group, do they pull through?
That's a tough one. I think they can.
Okay, so now we have 3 left. Based off of our analysis, do you think Senegal gets through with being in that really tough group?
Yeah, they should at least get a win. I think that one's going to be the most narrow point gap, and they should be able to get a win.
Pick two left between Iran, Saudi, Jordan, Congo, and Ghana.
Only 2 left that advance. Jeez. So what's the next group we're looking at?
We're Group G. Iran is the next one.
Let's take them out. Maybe they won't get a win. Yeah.
We have Saudi in Group H.
Let's take them out if we got to go down to the wire.
Jordan, I think we had a hard time discounting here. So do you want to, in Group J, do you want to advance Jordan through?
Let's say no.
Okay, so then we're gonna lock in Congo and Ghana for the final 2.
Yeah. It's so tough to decide on the fly, but yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard. I know. I'm not making it easier too, guys. Isaac's knowledge is top notch because I'm not sharing any screens. He's just going off his head here and doing a great job. So I'm not making it easy for him. But we'll advance now to the round of 32. Let's fly by. We did the analysis on each team, Isaac. So let's just kind of quickly just rapid fire because the playoffs, anything can happen here in these knockout stages. We have Germany, Scotland in Boston on June 29th.
You said Germany, Scotland?
Yes.
Okay. I think Germany should be the favorites in that. They actually played in the last Euro tournament and got the win no problem at the opener. It was a huge result for them as well. Let's lock in Deutschland.
Germany's moving through. We have Norway, Poland in a really interesting matchup on June 30th.
That's a good one. That's a great one, but I think Norway have what it takes.
Okay, we'll keep going. And by the way, guys, this is the round of 32 with the 48-team expanded tournament this year. Wow, 2 host nations, Mexico, Canada, facing off in Los Angeles.
Oof, in Los Angeles.
I think you have to go with Mexico here, in Los Angeles especially.
Yeah, that Mexican atmosphere is going to be great. Even the matches hosted in the USA. Let's go with Mexico.
This is big. Guadalajara, Japan versus Brazil.
Japan versus Brazil. Japan actually beat Brazil in a friendly recently, but can they do it again? They fell under the pressure at the last knockouts.
And this would be in Guadalajara, by the way. I don't know if that adds any complexities to your prediction here.
I'm going to give it to Brazil, even though they just lost to Japan in a friendly. I think Brazil are just the favorites.
Morocco versus the Netherlands, which is really interesting because you have a lot of dual nationals on Morocco who could represent the Netherlands as well. So familiar with their style of play. A lot of them playing in the Eredivisie. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this one is a really tough one to call. Obviously, we have to see how these sides face or do once the tournament progresses. But I think although Morocco had been slightly dull in the AFCON at the time of this recording, I think by the time the World Cup rolls around, they can get the best of out of the Dutch.
So you think Morocco moves on?
Yeah.
All right. Ecuador, France.
Oh, that's actually a really underrated match because, like I said, things have been slow for France. They're not as explosive as they used to be. Some of their matches are a bit more narrow, and Ecuador can, of course, make it narrow because they're so great defensively. I still think France can scrape through here.
France scrapes through. The next match, we have Ireland versus Ivory Coast, the battle of the green, white, and orange. Of course, flipped around. I know that always confuses everyone. Ireland is green, white, then orange. Ivory Coast is orange, white, then green. What do you think for this one?
I really hope we see that match now, but it's a tough one as well. Two really great teams. I'm just leaning towards the Ivory Coast.
Now, Ireland has a huge following in the U.S. as well. So remember that.
Oh, that is true.
Right?
It's really 50-50.
Well, this one will be in Mexico City, this match. So do you want to go with Ivory Coast on this one? Yeah.
I'm just leaning towards them for now, yeah.
Okay, let's move them through. In Atlanta, we have England versus Congo.
I talked up Congo a lot, and they can make it close, but I still think England have what it takes to advance to the round of 16.
Okay. Now we have the match in Toronto. We have Croatia versus Colombia. It's a tough one.
It is. I know Colombians are going to turn up for this tournament, but there's a lot of Croatians in Toronto. I got to believe in Croatia on this one. I feel like there's a lot of positives and negatives for each of these teams, so it's definitely going to be a tight affair, 50-50, but Hrvatska should push through.
It's going to be so interesting too, Isaac. City to city, in the United States, especially, and in Canada, it's the same way. Different immigrant communities too coming around. You don't know. Certain teams are going to have massive followings in different regions that you might not expect. There's a beauty of that too. So that's going to be really exciting.
Exactly.
Okay, we have Los Angeles. We have Spain versus Austria in LA on July 2nd.
Sorry, say that again.
I said that really weird. On July 2nd in LA, we have Spain versus Austria. Let's put it that way.
Spain versus Austria. Oh, okay. Yeah, Spain facing a European opponent. They seem to dismantle every European team they see now. I got to favor España.
España moving through against Ralf Rangnick's Austria. We have US versus Wales, who did, of course, play in the last World Cup to a 1-1 draw, but no Gareth Bale this time. What do you think?
USA should advance that. I think, although it was tight last time, yeah, the USA playing at home. This seems like somewhat of a favorable road in the knockouts for them. No offense to Wales.
Yeah, I'll move them through. Okay, round of 32. Quite a couple more matchups to go. We got Belgium versus South Africa.
I've been praising South Africa a lot. Say they can do it, but I don't know. They've seemed to slow down at the AFCON. Their biggest strength, their midfield, just seemed to not really connect the dots this time. I think they can make it close, but I'm going to favor Belgium now.
Belgium moving through. Now we have Argentina versus Uruguay. Do you want to do Argentina, just given the current form of Uruguay, or do you think a head-to-head matchup?
Yeah, maybe Uruguay can surprise, but I think Argentina should be able to progress that.
Turkey versus Egypt.
I got to favor Turkey here.
Turkey.
Egypt is not in the greatest shape. Maybe they can narrowly push through against them, but if Turkey pull through in the attack, they can cause Egypt's defense a lot of problems.
July 2nd in Vancouver, we have Switzerland versus Senegal.
Switzerland, Senegal. Ooh, that's a banger. That's also really tough. Switzerland in some incredible form, but I think I'm going to favor Senegal to do it.
Senegal. And then in Kansas City on July 3rd, which we will actually see Ronaldo go to Kansas City. That was one of the teams that was rumored to potentially sign Ronaldo way back when. We have a rematch from the 2014 World Cup in group stage, Portugal versus Ghana, now here in the round of 32, 12 years later. Who do you think?
That's got to be Portugal. I'm sorry, Ghana. Ghana's not in the most convincing shape. And although Portugal had their slips in the qualifiers, they're looking much stronger.
Yeah. An amazing match here. On July 4th, Independence Day in the U.S., we have who else but Germany and Norway in this match?
Germany and Norway. Oof. Damn, that's a tough one because, like I said, Germany will be under the pressure, but obviously that will loosen up if they finally qualify for the knockouts, which we're predicting. But against the best attack in Europe right now, it's a tough order, but I think Germany will push through.
Germany advanced. Now we have Mexico versus Brazil in Houston. Are you feeling good about Brazil, or do you think also the Mexican audience will come out in Houston, of all places?
Oh, they're going to come out no matter what, but I still think Brazil have to win that one. Mexico just seem to be cursed in the round of 16.
July 5th, Morocco versus France in New York, New Jersey.
Ooh, that's a really good one. Again, it's also some diaspora from Morocco there, but
Of course.
and that's a rematch as well from the semifinals in the last World Cup where France won. I want to see Morocco get their revenge, but I'm going to favor France.
Ivory Coast versus England in Mexico City on July 5th.
Ivory Coast versus England. That's got to be England.
We got in Dallas, Croatia versus Spain, a match I'm sure you'll be at, hopefully, on July 6th.
I don't know if I want to be at it because I'm sorry to say, I'm tired of seeing Spain destroy teams. They destroyed us at the last Euros. I unfortunately think it's going to repeat. They just constantly get the best of us. We only beat them like once in Euro 2016, and it was a group stage match. Yeah, Spain are definitely winning that one. I hate to say it.
USA-Belgium, a rematch from 2014. Can the U.S. get the best of Belgium this time, considering there will be no Chris Wondolowski on the pitch?
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they do it. Like I said, Belgium are not in the best shape, given they had some injuries, yes, recently. But I don't know, with USA's potential host optimism, I wouldn't be surprised to see an upset there.
Let's do it. And no offense to Chris Wondolowski, if this was played today, that match, it was blatantly offsides as well. So, VAR would have taken control there. We got Atlanta. We have Argentina versus Turkey. We have on July 7th in Atlanta. Who are you picking?
That's got to be Argentina.
Argentina. Vancouver, Senegal versus Portugal on July 7th.
Oof, what a tough test for both teams. If you want to argue for the quote-unquote upset, I won't argue with you, but Portugal should win that one.
Let's do Portugal. All right, Isaac, we got to get through the quarterfinals to the finals here in 5 minutes. Let's rapid fire now. We got Germany versus Brazil in Boston. What are your thoughts?
That's incredible. We'll see if Brazil can get their revenge after 2014. Ooh, I'm going to go for Germany.
Germany. Spain versus the U.S. I think this is where the run ends for the U.S. Do you agree?
For sure. Yeah, sorry. Spain's winning that.
I would take a quarterfinal run for the U.S., but Spain's advancing. In Miami, we have France and England.
France and England. Let's go England.
And we have in Kansas City getting the best football of this tournament, Argentina versus Portugal. Messi versus Ronaldo.
Oh, the FIFA wants this match to happen.
Do they want it to happen in Kansas City, though? That's my question. They might not care, but
I mean, that'll get the views for sure.
Yeah,
that's gonna be maybe as watched as the final. Who knows?
Arguably the best barbecue in the U.S. too. So,
yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm stuck on this one. I keep changing my mind on it as well. You see, even if
I think we take Portugal in this one,
let's do it. Let's do it. That would be scenes. Like Ronaldo fans would have all the ammunition on Messi, even if they don't end up winning the whole thing.
Yeah. We have Germany versus Spain, and then we have England versus Portugal. In Dallas, it's Germany versus Spain. Who are you picking for the semifinals?
Oh, wow. We went for all European as well. Germany versus Spain. That's got to be Spain.
Okay, so Germany is kicked into the third place match. And then we have Atlanta on July 15th, England versus Portugal.
England versus Portugal. Let's go with Portugal.
Okay, so let's pick the third place finisher first. We have Germany versus England. What are your thoughts?
Germany versus England
in Miami on July 18th.
Let's say England secure bronze.
And drum roll, please. We have Spain versus Portugal, the battle of the Iberian Peninsula, neighboring countries here, European final. Who will take the cake? Who will win the World Cup?
Initially, these were some of my favorites, but 50-50. But I know Portugal just beat them in the Nations League, but I'm going to say Spain win the World Cup, win their second ever title.
And that would be such heartbreak for it's not all about Ronaldo, but of course for the Ronaldo stands of the world. Right. But let's pick there, Spain winning the World Cup. It's hard to disagree with that. So we have Spain winning, we have Portugal in second, England in third, Germany in fourth, maybe a bias to Europe. But then again, this is going to be a really tough one to predict, Isaac. And I feel pretty good about it, though. How do you feel going through that?
I keep changing my mind on everything. If people saw my prediction videos, this was not my bracket initially, but yeah, it's going to be a good one. And it's a good thing that I'm so indecisive on it, because the possibilities at this tournament are going to be endless. But I do think that Spain are for sure one of the World Cup favorites. They should definitely have a deep run at this tournament. It's
hard to go against Spain. I'm looking forward to this World Cup, about 6 months out. I think my predictions are going to change too multiple times over, but this is where we're at on this day. And guys, if you want to read more about each one of these teams, if you want to check out their individual previews, if you want to learn about the host cities, you can do that at www.stateofsoccertv.com. That is the World Cup hub on State of Soccer's website to learn more. This video will be on there as well, so you can check that out. And of course, Isaac, where can they find you?
You can find me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all HRV Isaac. I do a lot of prediction videos and a lot of other World Cup coverage until the tournament begins.
I will say, I'll keep beating on this drum. This guy puts out not only quantity, but quality. He's the best in the game when it comes to matching those two together as a content creator. It's one of the hardest things to do.
Thank you, bro.
You do great work.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Of course. And with that, guys, this is State of Soccer signing off. Go check out the hub. And that's the World Cup hub on stateofsoccertv.com. And from there, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care, everyone.
Ciao.